The news is rather scary these days. There's a lot out there, a lot that's not only making us fearful, but that's just tearing us down. We remember the world that we grew up in, a world that prized civility and conversation, not the vitriol and anger that we see so common around us. There's a lot tearing us down these days. The good news is that not only can we build ourselves up and build each other up, but we have a powerful ally that can build us up greater and stronger than the world could ever tear us down. Let's talk about that today as we go to the Church of the Oak. Welcome, everybody. My name is Charlie. I am a Christopagan Druid and a priest of Brigid. I want to welcome you here to this sacred space that we meet in once a week to share, to grow, and to build our faith and practice. There's a lot trying to tear us down. Had a conversation during the first Sunday's meeting where people shared just the fear, the dread that they have in them about the future, the concerns that are very real and not easy to get through because they can't be dismissed. The fear of an autocrat coming to power in the United States, the war that continues to rage in Ukraine and Gaza, the genocide in Gaza that continues to take lives unnecessarily because one man is afraid of losing power and doesn't want to negotiate for peace to get the hostages back. We look at what's going on with climate change and the storms that are raging, and the fires that keep burning. And there's a lot of fear. I know I feel it. When I heard them talking, all I could think of was how we have an ally, a secret ally that can help us get through this. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we should hold out for miracles. I do believe that miracles work, but miracles come through faith. And as I say all the time, faith without works is dead. The Apostle James was very right about that. So when I say that this is something we have to do through faith, know that that means a firm trust that our actions will have the consequences we want them to have, and that we are going to take those actions going forward. Faith is not simple believing. Faith is work. Faith is practice. It's not just beliefs. What we have helping us, the answer to all this fear, all these concerns that are tearing us down, is the knowledge, and I do mean knowledge, of the one life and the Awen. Those great sources of wisdom ever welling up in us, guiding us along the way. Those places that we meet in meditation, in prayer, in ritual, in practice, in our day-to-day lives. Those very things that are always with us, but are easy for us to be distracted from. You see, our great foe in all of this is forgetfulness. It's easy for us to get distracted, to see the problems, and some of these great looming problems, devastating loss of life, terrible possible futures that could happen. To get distracted from the here and the now, where we can work on changing that future, on changing those conditions, on bringing about the very peace, justice, and compassion that we want to see made in this world. And that one life flowing through all of us is our great advantage, because we know that when we feel that we don't have the energy to move on, that we can tap into this other source. When we don't have the words to say, the Awen will take the reins. When we learn to participate with these great creative forces in the world, we are not alone in any of this. We have an army of guides, guardians, and gods at our back, pushing us forward and helping us to get where we need to go. We have an army of fellow faithful spread throughout this world that want the same thing. Just looking at what's going on in Gaza, the streets of Tel Aviv are lit with flames from the protesters in Israel wanting this war to stop. There are protests around the world, people uniting. What's stopping us is the one man. Truth is on our side, and truth finds allies, even when we don't know where to find them. We have to build ourselves up. We have to build ourselves up in those still, quiet places where we are at home, quivering in prayer, struggling to meditate, to get into that mindfulness, to tap into those places, to root ourselves deep into the one life that gives us hope and strength and power. We have to build each other up with that faith that we find there. And again, not platitudes, not little words that don't really mean anything. It'll all be okay in the end. No, the faith that we find, the strength that we find, and the tools that we find that help us get to where we want to go. We become wise, skillful in our ways of working, so that we know if we want to affect the politicians, we have to affect the polls. If we want to affect the politicians, we have to affect the money. These are the things the politicians listen to. We can take to the streets, we can protest in the streets all we want. But if they don't see the polls moving, they're not going to move. Because the great lie in our world, not just in our country, but in our world, is that we have leaders. They are followers, or control freaks, or both. Very few people actually have leaders in their lives, people that take their hands and lead them to the places that they need to go. And many of those people that call themselves our leaders are little more than followers who are just doing what they think they have to do to maintain their power and wealth and privilege and status. And so we have to find those things that they care about and build ourselves up so that we can take on these challenges in faith and in courage and in strength. Because if we want to actually change what our politicians are doing, yes, write to them. Yes, go to the protests, but also talk to people. And I mean talk. Don't yell at people. Nobody likes to be yelled at. Carry the gold and the silver rule with you everywhere that you go, and know that you need to be open and honest and do to them what you would want them to do to you, and not do to them what you would not want them to be not want them to do with you. You need to be acting out of love. Most people aren't supporting these terrible things that are happening to our world out of some malevolence. It's out of misunderstanding. It's out of deception. People don't support oil companies because oil good. They support oil companies because that's all that they've ever known. And it's scary to change. They support the oil companies because it makes jobs in their local neighborhoods. And they worry what will happen if those jobs go away. You have to be wise and speak to the actual fears and concerns. So you're talking about climate change and pollution, and they're worried about their jobs and their livelihood and their kids. They're never going to hear you. So we got to build each other up. We got to build up ourselves to understand and to see how the problems are actually working in the world, and the way that we actually need to move and talk to the people that we need to move and talk to, so that we can move those polls, move that public opinion to get it to where we need it to be if we are going to survive as a species, as a country, as a people. We have to build each other up. We have to constantly be learning and finding and testing and trying out new things and sharing those one with another, so that we can glean wisdom from all the things that people have tried. And don't just share the things that you've done that have worked. Share the things that you've done that didn't, so people know what not to waste their time on. We need to be building each other up. We want to see a better world, a brighter future. We want to see a world that is free of injustice. We have to speak to people where they are. It's hard to get the average person who doesn't know someone in prison to care about prison reform or to care about policing reform. They're afraid of crime. They're afraid that something bad's going to happen to their family. They may even have an anecdote about when something bad happened to them, and they just want a talisman that makes them feel safe, even if that's a police badge that won't. So we have to speak to them where they are and help them to see how we can actually bring peace to their communities, how we can actually bring security to their communities. We get trapped in this vision of the world that people see it the way that we do, that people are experiencing it the way that we do, and they don't. If you already know the problems inherent in the system, you have a leg up and an advantage on all the people that don't. But don't believe for a minute that you can just tell people what those disadvantages are and that they'll suddenly wake up. Look at the civil rights movement in this country that moved the needle very strongly and got the Voting Rights Act passed. We got segregation struck down, at least for a while, for both of those things. Those eloquent speeches went a long way. They helped to rally the people, but they were singing to the choir. They were putting out a chorus for people to join in. What changed people's minds was seeing the dogs and the water cannons and the treatment of people in the South. And when people saw it, their hearts broke. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to show people bloody pictures. In fact, that often turns people away because no one wants to be shocked like that. Honestly, in many of the situations that we are wanting to take care of, that we are wanting to help with, that wouldn't help anyone. You see, it's not that people don't know that children are dying in Gaza. It's that when they hear the word terrorist, they think about 9/11. And you have to speak to those fears that rise up in them. They're not thinking about what's happening over there. They're thinking about what happened here. They're not thinking about what is happening out of sight and out of mind. And no matter how much you show it to them, they're not going to see it because they're going to read it and interpret it through their own understanding and their own lives and their own fears of what has happened to them, their country, their community, their people, their fears about the future and how things will go. We got to build each other up. We have to go and address those fears. We have to go and address those concerns and help people to see that we are one human family and understand where these things are coming from and what we can actually do to make ourselves safe and secure. That we are stronger as a community, that we are stronger as a group. We're not stronger when we're alone, locked into our houses like we have some kind of a castle wall around us. That doesn't make us safe. That locks us away. That keeps us from being out there and interacting and actually making that change. It's accepting and surrendering to the status quo. We got to build each other up. We have to look at what is actually hurting people and keeping them from seeing the change that needs to happen. They're not blind to the problems. They saw the same videos that you saw. They just don't understand them or take them in the same way because something else is filling that space in their mind, in their heart, and their soul. And until you speak to that, you are not going to change anything. And we don't want to hear this. We don't want to hear this. We want to think that we can just say the same thing over and over again. We can shame people into doing the right action. Shame doesn't work. Shame makes people leave. Shame makes people hate the person that shamed them. Shame is not the power tool that we think it is. No. If we want to bring change into this world, we have to bring the light. We have to see what are the pain points that are keeping people from moving forward and work to address those. Why are people so afraid of migrants and refugees? Find those pain points, address them, and the fear of the other will start to melt away because you will never address the actual concerns that you have until you address the concerns of others. I know I sound like a broken record, but I got to build some people up. I watch so many of my sibling sisters and brothers out there on the streets trying to make a change. They're just singing, preaching to the choir, and the choir hears them and sings along. They ain't bringing anybody else to the show. They're not bringing anybody else to the concert. They're not bringing the song that changes people's lives. This world is about division right now because division is where profits come from. Division is where money is made. You got to scare people. You got to put them into your group. Make them afraid they're going to smell bad, so they buy your perfumes and your various expensive, elaborate soaps and tinctures and lotions that they need to put on, so they don't look old, feel old, smell old. Got to buy new clothes every day so that they are in fashion. Fear is how money is made. Fear is how power and wealth grows itself, because it's the easy path. See, we evolved back in a time when there were lions in the tall grass and snakes in the vine. There was danger around every corner. We needed to get into the cave for shelter, but we didn't know if there was a bear in there that was going to bite our face off or not. So we grew to be afraid, because that fear kept us alive when we were running from the lions and the serpents and the bears. But most of us aren't living in those conditions anymore, but those instincts are still there. So if somebody can point out something else and say, that's a lion, oh, the whole system comes in. You're not going to hear anything else until your fear of that lion goes away. That's the power of the principalities in high places. That's the power of those in authority who are using their strengths to divide us to make their own money and wealth. They don't care about our well-being. They care about their pocketbooks. They care about how they can entrench and support and grow their wealth, their fame, their power, and that is all that they are after. We got to speak through that. Not against it, but through it. We have to open people's eyes so that they can see that these fears are made up. We got to speak through these lies so that people understand what the real sources of their problems are. And it's hard. It is not easy. It is often slow, gradual work. Because when somebody is afraid, they're not really paying attention to what we're saying. Oh, we got to build some people up. We got to build each other up. As long as we are letting some of our own cower in fear in dark places, being controlled by manipulative forces that only want to extract wealth and power and fame from them, we're never going to get to where we need to go. Because when we come in and we shine that bright light on them, their eyes haven't seen light for so long, they cower again. They recoil away from it like you brought a new poison into their lives. Got to be careful. Got to bring in that small candle, a little glowing ember, bring in a little bit of light, let their eyes get used to it. Don't want to scare them all. It's hard work, and that's why nobody wants to talk about it. It's hard work. That's why very few people are out there doing it. And they want to rally you up and say that some strong man will come along, and it's always a man, isn't it? Some strong man will come around and say the right magic words, the right magic time, and make everything better. But that is not how anything works. We got to build each other up. We look back at the changes that have been made through struggle and toil and sometimes pain, often pain. We look at the abolition of slavery and how many voices it took, how many conversations it took at salons and saloons and parlors, at barber shops and street corners and country stores. How many people had to talk and get together before we got through to them that owning other people is wrong. Look at women's suffrage and giving people the right to vote. How many conversations had to happen so that men would vote to give women power? Think about it. Minds had to be changed. Presuppositions had to be moved and gotten rid of. Deep conversations needed to be had, and they still need to be had. Oh, we need to build each other up. If we want change to happen, if we want the light of truth to come in and bring the peace, compassion, and vibrant future that we want for ourselves, our children, and our grandchildren, then we have to build each other up and out of the realm of control by these people that only want power, wealth, and fame from us. We have to move out of fear. We have to go into those places, into those dark places where people are cowering, and show them the way out. This is not easy work. And there's not a one-size-fits-all answer that can get us to where we need to go, but I have seen it. I have watched it in my own community as my husband and I have talked to people and helped people to move in the ways that they need to move, to open their eyes, to free themselves from homophobia and transphobia, to help people work through misogyny. It's a slow process, and often it takes that one-on-one time with people that we feel the urgency and we tell ourselves, well, we just don't have the time for that. Well, if we don't take the time for that, it's only going to take longer to do, because that is how things are going to have to change. Because as long as there is fear to be profited off of, as long as there are people out there that can be convinced to go into those dark caves to hide and give their wealth and power up to others, people are going to be taking advantage of them. So we have to speak the truth, and we have to speak it in ways that they can understand and hear. Whatever the issue is, we got to build each other up. We got to make each other find that truth, that strength within ourselves. So what can you do about this? What can I do about this? Well, how can we actually be that change? One, make compassion the heart of everything that you do. Because trust me, I know when you want to yell at people. One of my neighbors during the George Floyd things put a racist flag in their front yard. Don't think for a minute I didn't want to go over there and have some scary words with this person. Didn't want to go over there and tear that flag down. But you have to talk to them. You have to find out why they have that flag up there. You have to try to get them to the other side. You don't do that if you don't have compassion. You have to understand that they are hurting people because they are hurting themselves. And if you cannot find out what is causing their pain, you will not be able to stop them from hurting other people. So start with building your own compassion, working on your own sense of calm, learning coping mechanisms and techniques that can help you get back to that calm place as quickly as possible for you. And to have those conversations, those hard conversations, helping them to see how invalid some of their sources of information are, helping them to see the truth and how truth actually works. You have to slowly bring that light in so that they can see the world as it is. It is a long, slow road. But together we can get there, and we can build each other up and have that good world that we want to see, that just world that we want to see, that compassionate world that we want to see. We just have to be willing to put in the time, the energy, and the effort. It's hard, but we can do it. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this has inspired you. I hope that this has helped you to see a path forward. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all those things, depending on what platform you're on. Follow. If you have any questions or comments, if you're listening to me on YouTube or Spotify, you can leave a comment right there. If you're anywhere else, you can leave a comment there, but copy it and head on over to creationspaths.com and hit chat and paste it in over there, because none of those other platforms let us know when you leave a comment. I'd love to know what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and how we can help you. While you're over at Creation Paths, if you got a few dollars you can pass our way, you can sign up for a membership there, or you can support me on Ko-fi or Patreon. I'm C.E. Dorset on both, CEDORSETT. As I like to remind people, this is not me asking for a donation to the Lord. This is me asking you to help us to keep the power on and food on our table, because we are trying our best to bring this kind of Christopagan and Druid content to you in a way that we are not seeing it anywhere else, so that we can be that change that we're wanting to see in the world. And thank you to everybody who does that. If you don't have any money, don't worry about it, but do share this with anybody that you think would benefit from hearing it. It really does help us when you help us grow. Until next time, may the light of the one life shine brightly within you and help you to see all of the dark places that you can go in safely. And may the voice of the Awen speak through you and inspire you the right words to say, so that you can touch the hearts and the fears of those that you interact with, so that we can actually build each other up. Amen.